Hello, guys. Yeah, my name is Dmitry, and with me is Kirill, and this is our weekly live where we talk about what's new in Wave Editor, and Wave live streaming studio. Okay, so let's see if you have any comments. Yeah, so when you join, just tell us where you're joining us from, how to use Wave, if you have any requests or bug reports or whatever, just post in the comments. Okay, so, and actually I see the comment from Pepe. Do you think that in the future we will be able to save scenes, something like saving XML file? Yes, so the short answer is yes, definitely not XML file, but something like, I don't know, copy from one, just saving in our backend, or copy from one stream to another, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And Karen is saying hi. Happy Friday. Yeah, happy Friday, everyone. Kirill, what's new in the editor?
Yeah, hello, everyone. So a couple of updates, some of them pretty nice. So let me switch to the demo. So first of all, as you know, we a bit facelifting our timeline. And this timeline, actually, with all these tracks, this height can be considerable, right? So if I switch it all on, right? So it's pretty high, right? And in this case, I don't have not have enough space to edit the actual editing area. So for this case, we created a mini version of the timeline. So see this button? It's called a high timeline. It doesn't really hide timeline, but rather switches to a mini form. So here you don't have scenes, you just have a playhead and can just move around. And what's good about that, it's not only saves you vertical space, it also gives you a lot of space on the right side and on the left side. For instance, if you switch to text, you can see like lots of texts, right? So we can add them, and again, you can just move the playhead wherever you want. You don't care about, excuse me, don't care about any transitions or whatsoever. You just care about your video, the timeline of your video. And another addition, you probably noticed that in the tooltips, we provide this keyboard shortcuts that can be used to access any action. So in this case, show timeline, it's toggled with Shift Escape. Let's see, I just click Shift Escape and it toggles on and off, right? So if you're a keyboard person, you might find it useful. So another one, we a bit facelifted how we highlight current selection. So here, remember we used to have this text around the selection, and these texts sometimes they just stood in the way when you were adjusting the text blocks. Now we just removed it. We put all the actions here, but we also moved their hints to the ruler, right? So when you hover on the element, it shows you start time, end time, and duration, and you resize it, so it conveniently shows you everything. When you no longer hover, it just disappears. So like this, it's I find it very convenient. So another tiny, but I would say considerable addition now in your uploads. You probably, like me, you have lots of folders and stuff I created for different demos and projects. And strangely enough, we didn't have a feature to delete a folder with all of the contents. Now it's possible. So here you see I have folder, it's not empty. So if I click on delete, so it shows me a warning, and it's all the contents will be deleted forever, right? Oops, it got deleted, right? So I hope you find it extremely useful. Well, it's kind of a feature that people just take for granted, but we got to do this. And I hope you find it useful, convenient in your workflow. That's it, Dima. You muted.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Kirill. Awesome updates. Yes, I especially like delete folder. I have lots of stuff laying around which needs to be deleted. Yeah, and I see Karen also loves delete folder feature. Okay. Oh, Eric, say hello. Hi, Eric. Okay. So what's new in the live studio? Let me just switch to my scene. This one. Okay. So the first feature. Well, this feature is almost embarrassing to mention. So essentially, I hope you know that you can just rename your streams here. You can just click and like, this is my stream, right? But until recently, I mean, until today, actually, if you inside the studio, for example, you open the studio, right? And you couldn't actually rename the stream from within the studio. Now you can. Again, just click here and, you know, this is just me. Okay. So now the stream, you can rename it from the studio. And this is especially convenient, I guess, if you create a new recording, because when you create a recording, you don't have a chance to set the name. You go straight to the studio. So now you can just rename it from within the studio. Small but useful feature. Okay, next one. Next one is it's about Facebook profile, streaming to Facebook profiles, personal profiles. So if you ever stream to Facebook profile, you know that there are always some issues with the privacy, visibility of the post, because basically it depends on your Facebook settings what you allow the app to do. And until today, we always actually set the Facebook profile visibility to private. So now what you can do, now you have a choice. So essentially you can just like when you create stream, if you go to Facebook, you know what, let me just create a new one. So if you choose to stream to Facebook profile, you can always click this edit settings and okay, you know what, I know what the problem is. One sec, I need to actually refresh. We just deployed this update, so I need to refresh the page. Okay, sorry about that. So if you go to Facebook profile now, right, edit, and now you have this visibility combo box, and by default we now set it to public, but you can choose only me, friends, or public. But this is not. So the thing is, so we try to set it to whatever you specified here, right? But if your Facebook settings say that all posts from Wave are private or friends only, then the Facebook settings basically override what we set here. This is all kind of complicated, and we're working on an article which will explain all of that in details. But essentially, now if you have your Facebook settings set to friends or public for Wave.video, then you will be able to create your live stream events on also public if you set this visibility to public. Okay, and what else? Yeah, and the last thing I want to talk about is not actually a feature, is I would like to share some stats with you guys. Okay, let me just switch to this one. Yep. So here is a breakdown on essentially how our users use Live Studio. This is for the last 30 days, I believe. So the blue segment is recordings. Red is live streams, and this cyan is pre-recorded videos. The blue segment is about 70%. So what it means is, as you can see, 70% of all streams are not really streams per se, but recordings. So most of the people actually use our live studio to pre-record some videos for repurposing later. It could be just one person recording themselves or recordings with the guests. It doesn't really matter. It's all recording. And despite the fact that our studio is called Live Studio, in fact, it is used mostly for recording, as you can see, 70%. So I guess what I want to say is that when I hear some people telling us that we need to focus on video editor part because there are so many more people who need to edit videos versus people who stream. So I show these people this chart and tell them, look, just 25% of people actually stream, do live stream. The rest is using the studio to pre-record videos and then repurpose them later using our editor if needed. So my message to you, don't be discouraged by word live. You don't have to go live. You can just pre-record yourself, your presentations. You can pause, resume it many times. In fact, you can just discard those recordings which are not perfect and use only the best ones. So Live Studio is part of the video creation process. It's not just for people who are so brave enough they just go and do live streams. It's only for people who pre-record videos and use them in their video creation process. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just again, don't be afraid of word live. Do use Live Studio, create videos and use them in editor, or just use editor, whatever works for you. Yeah, Kirill, you muted.
Sorry, needless to say, if you are super afraid of going, not even on recording, we have a text-to-speech feature, so you can actually record your presentation and generate your voice like perfectly said, right? So all the tool set is here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look at us. We are not native speakers and we're not afraid to go live. I mean, we're afraid a little bit, but not anymore. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Pepe actually is saying interesting data. Yeah, it is. And yeah, Pepe also likes updates in the editor. Okay, guys. Yeah, I don't see any more questions. So again, post them later in the under the videos and let us know what you think. Okay, and have a nice weekend. Yeah, and see you next week. Oh, by the way, next week there will be, I hope there will be awesome updates in the studio. Okay, see you next week.
See you.